of the Constitution. The Deputy President has in so many occasions expressed that he only considers people he considers shareholders. Honorable Speaker, on the 2 occasions that the Deputy President came to Gusiland, on the first occasion while addressing leaders, he told us that the reason why, as Kisses, we should not demand for more things from the government is because we always vote for Mutu wa kitendawili, to quote him. On the second occasion, the Honorable Deputy President told us that siku hizi wa Kisii tumejaa jela kushinda wa Kikuyu. I'm wondering, Honorable Speaker, when did he do the statistics to note that sisi kama wa Kisii, we are the most criminals in this country? And Honorable Speaker, as I finish, I just want to remind the Deputy President. Yesterday, he spent a lot of time reminding us that he is an orphan. And yet he forgot that there is one orphan that the Deputy President kept saying that he has put for him Mitego in State House. The Honorable Deputy President forgets that even the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is an orphan. Why did he forget that he was putting for him Mitego? I just want to tell the Deputy President that because of the utterances that you make against people of Kenya, you must go and you will go home. I thank you.
Malolo Injendi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I arise to support this motion strongly. Mr. Speaker, this country has once suffered tribal clashes. Mr. Speaker, the Deputy President has been always talking about Central Kenya, Mlima, etc., etc. Mr. Speaker, whipping up the tribal feelings. Mr. Speaker, if we allow the Deputy President to continue holding that particular position in the country, Mr. Speaker, what will happen in this country is that most of these other tribes will feel domination of this particular community, will feel intimidation by this community, and they will rise up, gang up against the community of Central Kenya, not because they are liking it, but because of his sentiments and because of what he speaks. Mr. Speaker, this person has been in office for 2 years, but he appears not to have had the conscience to know the kind of office he's holding, and that's why he speaks the way he speaks of regions. Mr. Speaker, I wonder how.
Order, honorable members, order.
I wonder how a person holding that kind of office can keep on talking of Kuweka Miteko State House for people who did not vote for this government, not to enter, not to access. Mr. Speaker, because of Kuweka Miteko kila mahali kwa kona State House has affected some of us when he was still very active in State House, blocking us from accessing State House. Mr. Speaker, the whole issue of shares, I want to tell people from Western Kenya, we are suffering from this because of his input and insisting, embarrassing the president. When he wants to help persons from West Kenya, he says those people don't deserve to have the share they're having in the government. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, I support.
Robert Mbui. Robert Mbui.
Yeah, thank you, Mr.
Leadership, I'll give you 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I've noticed, listening to the arguments that have been passed here this afternoon, and also earlier in the morning, I've noticed that it's getting a little personal, and I'm feeling a little jittery, because I know the subject matter is a person who is a family man with a wife and children, and friends and relatives, and they're all listening. So I think maybe I will start by reading the Bible so that we can bring down the temperatures. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32 says, "Be kind, compassionate, and forgiving to each other in the same way God forgave you in Christ." Now, verse 31, Mr. Speaker, says, "Put aside all bitterness, losing your temper, anger, shouting, and slander, along with every other evil." Mr. Speaker, as a member of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya, I didn't believe in the leadership of Kenya Kwanza. I opposed it from the beginning. Mr. Speaker, I am vindicated now because I can tell the people of Kathiani that I said that this government is rudderless, is leaderless, is planless. And Mr. Speaker, is also merciless, because within a very short time, the center can no longer hold. Mr. Speaker, former Senator, now Governor James Orengo, famously said in Senate that governments eat their own people. Former leader of majority of the National Assembly, Duale was eaten by his government, today is a CS. Former Deputy Speaker of the Senate, Kithure Kindiki, was eaten by his government, now he's also a CS. Former Chair of Budget of this National Assembly was eaten by his government, today is the majority leader. I don't know, we are now eating Rigiji, where will he end up? Mr. Speaker, I have an issue of concern, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, is the Deputy Leader of Minority to assert that I was eaten by my own government, Honorable Speaker, whereas he knows I was never eaten by any government. I only stood firm against tyranny. I stood firm against the bullying that I experienced under that regime. The same bullying I have stood firm against a Deputy President today who has been bullying members of Parliament. And I have only put my chest forward to defend the rights of all these members, including the Honorable Robert Mbui, who was Honorable Speaker, when the Deputy President visited Kathiani. He said to the Honorable Mbui that these Kambas are too few. They can never make a president. Kalonzo can never be anything. How can you defend a person who has disdain for Kalonzo Musyoka, a former vice president of this country? Mbui.
Robert Mbui.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, I love the passion and the humor in the majority leader. But Mr. Speaker, I'm also impressed by the energy that I've seen in this house, the vigor, the passion from morning. I mean, it is a first bill, or rather it's a first motion, where this House has gone up to public participation in the constituencies. Mr. Speaker, I only wish that the energy that we are expending here to send a question to all Kenyans about one individual was being used to fight the issues that are failing us in our education, in our health sector. People here, the cost of living has gone too high. People have no jobs. Mr. Speaker, those are the things that this House should passionately deal with. But Mr. Speaker, for a whole day, and from, I don't know, even the last week or 2 weeks, to deal with one matter, Mr. Speaker, I think that we are losing direction. And it is important, Mr. Speaker, that we deal with the things that are affecting our people. Because, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the education sector, I talked about it here the other day. We don't even have classes for grade 9 going into JSS. Mr. Speaker, the funding model for university has failed. Mr. Speaker, the insurance sector, NHIF, is having a problem, Mr. Speaker. How then do we spend taxpayers' money and time to come and deal with a matter of one single individual, Mr. Speaker? Now we are told that this person, Mr. Speaker, is a tribalist. But Mr. Speaker, those comments that he made, yesterday he made it very clear. And I was shocked. I was very shocked, Mr. Speaker, yesterday, to realize that in fact Kenya Kwanza was actually a company that is limited by shares, and that people negotiated shares for themselves. The mover of the motion is a member of MCCP. MCCP negotiated shares for Lower Eastern. Mr. Speaker, because we had 2 cabinet secretaries in this government. Now, Mr. Speaker, we only have 1. And I'm telling you, Mr. Speaker, actions speak louder than words. The Deputy President may have said that he is a shareholder and there are issues about his community, but if you look at the appointments that are being made in Kenya, then you will realize that the person of the President himself is the one who is the biggest tribalist, Mr. Speaker, because he's appointing people from his own community for every provision. Mr. Speaker, if we have to find a situation where a school has failed, you do not fire the deputy principal. You get rid of the principal. Our problem is not the deputy, it is the head himself. Thank you, Mr.
Yes, Farah.
Mr. Speaker, I was standing. Mr. Speaker.
Order.
Mr. Speaker.
Robert Mbui, you are normally more decent than that.
This is a house of. Mr. Speaker, protect me. Mr. Speaker, my point of order is this. This is a house of rules. This is a law-making body. This is the place where, Mr. Speaker, our constitution itself was passed. Mr. Speaker, you cannot bring. Talk about a president or even any other head of state of a friendly country without bringing a substantive motion. So you cannot discuss the conduct of the president. And by the way, I want to correct you. You might
point is out of order.
Your point of saying that governments
Take your seat is out of order. Kahangara. Just use my card.
Honorable Kahangara.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Hold on a second, they're going to put for you the mic. Clerk, just yes, I can see the mic. Take the one next to Mheshimiwa Fulamu. Take that one, yes. He's gone to the one you had given him.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to contribute to this motion. And I want to say that from the onset, I am in support of the motion, the special motion for the impeachment of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Madam Speaker, let me say that this country, Kenya, is a country that is is led by a constitution, by laws, and a country that is led by of democracy. In this country, Mr. Speaker, every 5 years Kenyans go to elections to elect their leaders, and after elections, for people to assume office, they take an oath of office where they say that they are going to respect the Constitution, they are going to protect the Constitution of this country. Mr. Speaker, when the Deputy President took oath of office, he promised that he was going to respect the Constitution of Kenya. In his responsibilities, we are told that the President is a symbol of national unity. He's the one who is supposed to be uniting this country and also to respect the diversity of the various communities and tribes in this country. In the same constitution, it says that the Deputy President is the principal assistant to the President. So if he is the principal assistant to the President, meaning that he performs the duties that are performed by the President. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that the Deputy President has gone around this country talking about shares, meaning that he has put all the tribes of this country into coalition. And I want to thank the member who brought this particular motion, because we are saving this country from somebody who is, I would call a suicide bomber, somebody who is ready to die, somebody who wants to die with Kenyans. And we want to say that we are ready to fight tribalism, ensure that this country continues in...
Your time is up, Kahangara Kasheri. Give Honorable Njeri the mic.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to vehemently oppose this motion on behalf of the great people of Kirinyaga. Honorable Speaker, it begs the question, does it not prick our conscience as a House that barely 4 months after passing the grossly unpopular finance bill, which the President himself refused and declined to assent to, that we're here discussing an impeachment motion of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya? Honorable Speaker, the young people of this nation unequivocally told us to fix high unemployment levels among the young people, gross corruption at all levels of government, accountability issues in regard to leadership, our ailing healthcare sector, among other things. Honorable Speaker, many young people died on that day, Honorable Speaker. Several others to date are still missing, Honorable Speaker. It begs the question, the priorities we have as a 13th Parliament. Honorable Speaker, the motion before us is frivolous, it is baseless, it is lacking in substance. It is nothing but a shambolic political scheme to hang the truthful man for merely being truthful. Honorable Speaker, we must redeem the 13th Parliament, Honorable Speaker. We must ensure that we give...
Kasheri, take your seat. Yes, Donya. Give Donya the mic. Hold, Jerry, you have about...
Yeah. Thank Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is Honorable Gachagua in order to bring things which have passed, like the finance bill, when we are discussing about the impeachment motion? Gachagua is my friend, but this one you are wrong, my dear. We are discussing about the impeachment of Gachagua, not finance bill. Let the foregone be the foregone.
Honorable Speaker, I would want the honorable member, who is my very good friend, to point what standing order she rose on and what standing order can ensure that I do not speak on matters that have been controverted and that are public information, Honorable Speaker. We passed the finance bill, Honorable Speaker. It is a matter of fact. Even if you boo me, I will speak. The young people of this nation deserve more. They want jobs. They want healthcare sorted. The impeachment of the deputy president is a sham political process.
Kasheri, order. Jerry shall be heard in silence and dignity. But Jerry, your time is up. Women Rep of Migori. Yes, Wanjala. What is out of order? Give Wanjala.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the person who is accused, whom we are debating, was supposed to be here by 5. It is 7 minutes past 5.
He actually is.
Mr. Speaker, can we bar him from coming because he's late?
Wanjala, he's already here. Yes. Migori Women Rep. Give to Fatuma. I look for you to speak. You had gone out.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Kindly protect me, Mr. Speaker. I can't be heard, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
Excuse me, Honorable Member. Please give me time to speak.
Order.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity you have given me. And as I stand here as a Muslim, I don't know when I'll die. In case I die before the impeachment time, I vote yes, Gachagua must go. Mr. Speaker, I will take you to the Bible, Proverbs 23, 10 verse 11. And it says, please keep quiet. And it says, don't move an old stone that marks a border, and don't take fields that belong to the orphans. God, their defender, is strong. He will take their side against you. I want Gachagua to know, the former deputy president of Kenya should know, that when you touch anything of the orphans, it is not Kenya Kwanza, it is not Azimio, but it is God Almighty that will put the fire on you. I will return to the Quran. The Holy Quran in Surah An-Nisa said, surely those who eat up property of the orphans unjustly, they only eat fire into their bellies, and soon they will enter a blazing fire. I am telling the former deputy president of Kenya that you have eaten fire into your belly, and the fire will surely burn you. Mr. Speaker, as I finish, Mr. Speaker, I have heard that the deputy president has 21 lawyers. How much does the deputy president earn to have 21 lawyers? And I understand each lawyer is paid 10 million. And I'm telling Kenyans, it is your taxpayers' money.
Your time is up. Rueda. Honorable members, we are coming to an end. Order, honorable members. I've given the floor to member for Lamu East.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, umoja wa taifa ni muhimu sana, na vile ilivyofanyika na naibu wa rais ilionekana kwamba hakuna umoja. Nataka ijieleweke kwamba watu wa mlima wanaishi sehemu zingine. Kule kwangu Kiunga niko na watu wa mlima, na kile wanachoona zaidi ni sand dunes. Hawaoni mlima, anaona bahari. Nataka niseme ile kuzungumzia kuhusu NIS ilikuwa ni grave mistake. Wamekosea sana. Afadhali angetaja Nurdin kama ako na shida naye kuliko institution ya NYS. Ni kutufanya sisi tukae dhaifu katika maadui zetu. Kwa mfano Al-Shabaab wataona vipi sisi kama tuko weak. Ingine nasema ukiwa unatukana mwanamke, na tena hii ikuwe kwa mtu yoyote, yule anatukana mwanamke ajue mwanamume yote anatukana mwanamke, mashimo yako 7 kwa kila mtu alioumbwa. Wanaume wanayo, wanawake wanayo. Kama ni malaya basi ni wote wanaweza kutumia kwa malaya. Hii jina ya malaya nimechoka kusikia. Ingine naulizwa mashimo ni haya mawili ya pua, ya masikio, ya mdomo na yale mengine mawili. Kila mtu ako nayo. Ingine nataka niseme sisi tunafundishwa Kiislamu kuheshimu wajane na mayatima. Ikiwa kuna mtu haiheshimu majane na mayatima, basi hairuhusiwi kidini yetu. Asante Bwana Spika.
Order. Member for Kipipiri, take your seat. Yes, Milemba.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for this. The mood in the House is such that it's already 5. And Honorable Speaker, it's my plea to you that the country is waiting. We move to the next stage so that we may hear the Deputy President speak. Remember, these are motions which has timelines. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order, members. If you listen to the Speaker, when I called out member for Lamu East, I said she was going to be the last one on this. So she is indeed the last one on this. The interaction on the motion. Order. Order, members. The interaction of members on the motion has been very, very intense. Order, honorable members. Member for Machakos, keep your cool, Mami. Keep your cool. Yes, keep your cool. The members who have spoken are many. It is not possible for each and every one of us to speak on the same motion. For those who have spoken, I appreciate you for your tremendous industry for and against the motion. Now His Excellency the Deputy President is in the chamber and he is accompanied, I believe, by his legal team or assistants. We will now move to the next stage. You remember I had advised the House. Order. Joyce Kamene. This is not a moment where the Speaker can exercise the option to exclude you from proceedings, but I know you differently. You are normally a very dignified person. I don't know what is the problem today. I want to urge the House that as we move to this stage, you remember we said at 5, the Deputy President had been assigned 2 hours in accordance with the standing orders. The standing orders say not more than 2 hours. So he may exercise to spend the 2 hours or less as he wishes. Secondly, once he finishes, then the minority leader, majority leader will take the floor as we had agreed. After that, then the mover will be invited to reply. And after that, you will go into a voting session. Your Excellency, once you finish, you have the option to remain in the House or to leave because you'll have spent your time as allocated by the House. I want to encourage you members to maintain your silence, to maintain your decorum, and to maintain the dignity of both the House and yourselves in listening to the subject to this motion, who is the Deputy President of the country. And I invite you, Your Excellency, you have a choice. You have a choice between speaking yourself or speaking through your legal counsel. Yes, Kamket, what is out of order? Your Excellency, you may take your seat. Let us hear it.
Mr. Speaker, while I did not want to interrupt His Excellency the Deputy President, who is my brother-in-law, Mr. Speaker, yesterday the Deputy President on national television referred to this House in unpalatable terms. And Mr. Speaker, while it is his right to say whatever he wants to say, as a former member himself, Mr. Speaker, would I be in order, Mr. Speaker, that the Deputy President, as a precursor to his speech, apologizes to this House? Mr. Speaker, this House, Mr. Speaker, he used the words, he referred to this House as the theater of the absurd. Mr. Speaker, this House is an honorable House of the people of Kenya. These are elected members of Parliament, Mr. Speaker. This House is neither a theater, neither is there absurdity in this House, Mr. Speaker. So I would request, Mr. Speaker, that the Honorable Deputy President exercises, dignifies this House by offering an apology. I know he has very little support in this House now.
You've made your point.
But he may get a little support even just from that apology. He has to apologize to this House, Mr. Speaker, before he proceeds with his speech, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Order. No more points of order. Your Excellency, Deputy President, as you take the floor, this morning, the Speaker made a communication and indicated that we found it abhorrent, some of the contents of your interview your speech rather, your statement last evening, in which you described this House in not very good terms. We also indicated that the rules of this House preclude matters pending before the House from being canvassed in other fora, particularly by members of the House, and to an extent of broad interpretation of the standing orders, a person who is subject to the motion going on in the House. It is spilled milk, it's water under the bridge. You said what you said, but it is only fair that, being an immediate former member of this House, that you exercise your conscience to hold as to whether this is a theater of the absurd or is an honorable National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya. You may start by addressing that.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And thank you, the honorable members present, for according me this opportunity to prosecute the matter before us. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have tremendous respect for this great institution, having served here for 5 years between 2017 and 2022, and I appear here in a very nostalgic moment that I'm back in the House where I stayed for 5 years, despite the fact that I've come under difficult circumstances. Mr. Speaker, maybe the sound people, is that okay now? Mr. Speaker, sir, and the honorable members, I want to thank you for giving me opportunity.
I hope, Your Excellency, you have been advised by your lawyers that you are here to respond to specific issues in the motion.
I have my advice.
And not to talk generally.
I know.
Yeah, so rules of relevance will still apply to you as they apply to all members.
Mr. Speaker, the motion before this great House alleges that 2 years ago, since assuming office, I have acquired property and wealth whose estimated value of 5.2 billion shillings. A significant number of properties to which this sum of 5.2 billion is erroneously and maliciously attached belongs to my late brother, the late Honorable James GACHAGUA, and as demonstrated by his will, a copy of which is attached. The fact as follows. Olive Garden, my response. The allegations that I own the Olive Garden Hotel is false. The truth is that Olive Garden Hotel used to belong to my deceased brother, the late Honorable James GACHAGUA, and therefore has never been my property. This is information that most of you may be aware, as it is in public domain. Upon his demise, my late brother left a will in which, in his recognition that I can take care of his family, he appointed me as one of the executors of his estate. In the said will, my late brother directed that the hotel should be sold, among other properties, and proceeds distributed as per the will. I'm also listed as a beneficiary together with other persons named therein. In accordance with these instructions, the hotel was sold by the executors to a third party. Owing to the above, I do not own the hotel and have never owned it contrary to accusation in the motion. For the benefit of this august House and the general public, I have annexed to this response copies of the following supporting documents. My late brother's will, sale agreement dated 17th May 2023, an official search for Olive Garden Hotel Limited. Mr. Speaker, Vipingo Beach Resort, just as in Olive Garden, above this allegation is also false. Vipingo Beach Resort belongs to the estate of the late James GACHAGUA. For the benefit of this House and the general public, I have attached annexed to this response copy of the official search for Vipingo Beach Resort Limited, confirming that the hotel is still in the name of my little brother's estate. Queen's Gate Service Apartments. The allegation is also false, as the property belonged to my late brother. Queen's Gate Service Apartments, registered in the name of Vipingo Beach Resort Limited, was sold to Cooperative Bank of Kenya Limited, Staff Retirement Benefits Scheme, as evidenced by the agreement for the dated 4th May 2022 and a transfer dated 5th October 2022, marked Annex RG6. Land parcel Ruguru Kiamariga 2023 in Madeira East constituency, which have originally constructed a helicopter landing facility. My response is, I do confirm that I own the above referenced property, which is approximately 2.5 acres in size, and which I have planted napier grass for my dairy cows. I purchased the land in the year 2023 for 3.5 million from farm proceeds coming from my dairy farm. I have read through the motion, and there is no iota of evidence adduced of the impropriety in the way I acquired this small property. Finally, on this matter, I wish to confirm that there is no helicopter landing facility for this particular parcel on the motion. This part is also false. I attach a copy of the agreement for purchase of this property, marked Annexure RG7. 40 acres of land purchased in Kakuret within Kabraine in Nyeri County. My response. I confirm that I own a property, having bought it in 2015, a time when I was not a state officer. I had not even been elected as Member of Parliament from the Honorable Njoroge Wainaina, Member of Parliament for Kenny, who is present in this house, or I'm not sure whether he's present. Therefore, this property I purchased 10 years ago, and not 2 years ago during my tenure as Deputy President, and as indicated in the motion, the allegation is false. I have read through the motion and there is no iota of evidence adduced of any impropriety in the way I acquired this property. For the benefit of this August House and the general public, I have annexed to this response copy of the agreement for sale and purchase of this property marked as Annexure RG 8. 80 acres of land in Meru County. For the record, I wish to confirm that I do not own 80 acres of land in Meru. This allegation is false. However, in the spirit of full disclosure, I would like to confirm that I have purchased 29 acres of land in Meru, the land of my mother, which I bought on around 9 February 2024 through a loan granted to me by Solution Circle Limited, which I am a member. This said circle has a charge registered against the title, which it continues to hold as security until I fully repay the loan. For the benefit of the August House and the general public, I have annexed to this response copies of the agreement of sale marked RG9 and a letter dated 15 July 2024 from Solution Circle Limited confirming that they financed the purchase of the property marked Annexure RG10. Dairy farm in Nyandarua County. My response is I do not have a dairy farm in Nyandarua County, therefore this allegation is false. The land in Nyandarua has no single animal. Companies. The motion alleges there are 22 companies owned by my family members and which have been used to massively launder money and conceal proceeds of crime, corruption, and benefit from influence peddling. My response is the mover of the motion has listed the 22 companies associated with me and has alleged that they have been used to massively launder money and conceal proceeds of crime, corruption, and benefit from influence peddling. I've carefully gone through the motion and I have not seen any evidence to support or prove the allegations therein. It is not clear to me how to respond without having seen any evidence incriminating the companies. I would like to be clear that these companies have not been involved in any illegal activities, and I believe that is why the mover of the motion has not tabled any evidence of impropriety with respect to the companies. It does appear to me that the mover of the motion was so meticulous to get all the companies associated with me and my family, and I believe that he also had evidence of illegalities committed by the companies, he would have shared or tabled that for the record. However, it is not possible to get evidence of illegality where there is none. Having said the above, allow me just to mention a few companies because there are many. Regarding GACHAGUA Foundation, this is a foundation I incorporated in 2022, and I clarify that the foundation is a non-profit making entity with the sole objective of uplifting the lives of less privileged in society. This foundation therefore does not trade, and honorable members, you are aware that by law, a foundation cannot be used to trade. Since incorporation, the foundation has received a total of 12 million shillings, which has been utilized as per the schedule marked Annexure RG 11, which is paying school fees for children in Pwani University and other universities across the country. Dorcas Regarding Foundation, because she is not here to defend herself, this is a foundation founded by my wife, Pastor Dorcas, incorporated immediately we came into office as a non-profit making entity for the sole purpose of rehabilitation of drug addicts, widows, single mothers, and orphans. A brief write-up of this foundation, together with its achievements, is annexed herewith as Annexure RG 12. It is in public domain that Pastor Dorcas have been around the country doing work of rehabilitating drug addicts and helping others who have challenges. There are many other companies that are here, but I don't, because this is a house of record, I don't want to bother the members of parliament of going through all of them. I want to probably only talk about Wamunyoro Investments Limited, named after my village in Wamunyoro. This company was incorporated 21 years ago before I became deputy president, and is a company that holds family property. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have been accused of exerting influence on officials in the Ministry of Lands to issue an allotment letter to Amunyoro Investments Limited and using the fraudulently acquired documents in support of a court case. My response, Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, I wish to confirm that Amunyoro Investments Limited has never been issued with any letter of allotment for land in Embakasi. Amunyoro Investments Limited purchased this land from a third party in the year 2012. The company's ownership of this property has been confirmed through two legal processes. One, a case was filed before the National Land Commission in the year 2016, adjudicated, and a determination was made that this property belongs to Amunyoro Investments Limited. That was long before I became the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Again, a matter was filed in High Court case, ELC case number E242 of 2022, which was filed before I became Deputy President. All the documents filed in support of this case were filed in court before I became Deputy President, and no documents have been filed by myself in court upon becoming Deputy President. This being the case, it is not true that I have used my office as Deputy President to manufacture documents filed in this matter. The High Court found that this land legally belongs to Amunyoro Investment Limited and issued the appropriate direction. This matter has since been challenged in the Court of Appeal. I invite any honorable member who may want to be enjoined in this case to have the liberty to do so. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have been accused in the irregular procurement of mosquito nets at a cost of 3.7 billion. In response to paragraph 45 of ground 7 at page 23 and 42, paragraph 78 and ground 11 and page 36, 37 or 42 of the impeachment motion, I wish to respond as follows. It is not true, as claimed in paragraph 3 of the witness affidavit of Andrew Mulwa, that I was involved in the KEMSA 3.7 billion irregular procurement of malaria nets, either directly or through proxy. Further, Shobika Impacts Limited was not awarded the subject tender as the acting director of procurement, Dr. Justice Kinoti, by letter 5th May 2023, formally notified Shobika Impacts Limited that its bid was unsuccessful because its tender security was not paginated and the tender was hence non-responsive. That is clear at paragraph 4 of the witness affidavit of Andrew Mulwa. He contradicts himself by claiming that on 11 July 2023, I pressured him to surrender the original bid board, yet by the letter dated 5th May 2023, KEMSA had requested for collection of the original bid. Thus, there was no cause to pressure to be exerted on Mr. Mulwa for any other purpose. I am aware of a foreign company known as Shobika Impacts Private Limited, domiciled in India, and which appointed Crystal Kenya Limited as its local agent in the year 2014, that is 8 years before GACHAGUA became the deputy president. To date, Crystal Kenya Limited has complied with the agency terms between itself and Shobika Impacts Private Limited, annexed 18 in an appointment agency letter by Shobika Impacts Limited in the year 2014. Sometime in 2023, Kenya Medical Supplies Authority advertised tender number GFATM MOL NFM 2022-2023 for supply of long-lasting insecticidal nets using the international open tendering method of procurement on behalf of the Global Fund. The monies for supply of the nets, as per my understanding, was a pure grant from the Global Fund. I am aware that Shobika Impacts Limited still participates in doing business with and has not been debarred by the Global Fund to date. I believe being technically qualified to provide and deliver the goods subject of the tender document, having the financial ability to do so, and without their participation or assistance from Crystal Kenya Limited, Shobika Impacts Private Limited independently participated and submitted in its bid in response to the subject tender pursuant to an invitation by KEMSA. Having not participated in the subject tender, Crystal Kenya Limited did not submit any of the documents in response to the subject tender. Specifically, Crystal Kenya Limited did not submit a bid board or tender security in its name in response to the subject tender. It is therefore not true that Crystal Kenya submitted a fake bid board with an intention to fraudulently acquire public property. It is also not true that with my sons I used Crystal Kenya to massively launder money, conceal proceeds of crime, engage in corruption, and benefit from influence peddling. Subsequently, by the letter 5th May 2023, KEMSA notified Shobika Impex Limited that it was not successful because the tender security was not paginated, and requested Shobika Impex Private Limited to collect its bid security from the procurement office immediately. Annexed here to and marked Annexure RG19 is a said letter by KEMSA dated 5th May 2023. However, EACC commenced investigations of the subject tender, and on conclusion of the investigation by EACC and the Senate on the subject tender, KEMSA CEO Terry Ramadhani, who had been suspended on this issue, was appointed Kenya's Deputy High Commissioner in New Delhi, India by President William Ruto. Thereafter, Crystal Kenya Limited, a Shobika Impex Limited agent in Kenya, followed up in the release of Shobika Impex Private Limited's bid board tender security on behalf of Shobika. Annexed here to and marked Annexure RG20 is an email from Shobika Impex Private Limited email addressed to Crystal Kenya Limited, together with a letter of even date confirming that Crystal Kenya Limited had authority to collect their bid board. KEMSA was mandated to immediately release the bid board tender security upon determining that Shobika Impex Private Limited was unsuccessful in the subject tender, and that is why they requested that the same be collected from its procurement office. KEMSA did so, as can be seen in its letter dated 11th July 2023, annexed here to and marked Annexure RG21 in the said letter by KEMSA dated 11th July 2023. That is why they requested that the same be collected from its procurement office. Mr. Speaker, noting that Shobika Impex Private Limited was not successful, it did not supply any goods, and it did not receive any public funds in payment thereof with respect to the subject tender. Accordingly, I have not committed any crime under Section 45(1), 46, 47A3, and 48(1) of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, and Section 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the Proceeds of Crime and Money Laundering Act. Further, I have not breached Section 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, for I did not bully any state or public officer with respect to the subject tender, and specifically, no evidence has been tendered to support the allegation at paragraph 78C of ground 11 at page 37 of 42 of the motion, which alleges that I summoned procurement officers in ministries and institutions, instructing them to direct procurement of goods and services in a specific manner. No evidence has been tendered to support the allegation at paragraph 78C of ground 11 at page 37. I have been accused of unnecessary and expensive renovation of the official residence of the Deputy President in Karen and Mombasa. Mr. Speaker, firstly, I would like to state that funds for the renovation of the official residence were approved and allocated by this Honorable House based on the fact that the premises had been neglected for a very long time when Dr. William Ruto was Deputy President. It cannot be fair that this House would proceed to impeach me because of an action that these honorable members have approved by way of appropriating monies for the renovation. Mr. Speaker, the contract for the refurbishment of the official residence of the Deputy President, dated 22nd December 2022, was signed by Honorable Katole Metito, Controller of State House, Office of the President, and Agrobic Investment Limited that was awarded the tender, because the Controller of State House at that time was the accounting officer in charge of the Office of the Deputy President. The report of the Auditor General, Mrs. Nancy Gadongo, dated 24th January 2024, on the Executive Office of the President for the year ended 30th June 2023, gave the opinion confirming the due compliance with the Public Finance Management Act 2012. The report is annexed herewith and marks as Annex RG 23. I'd also like to add that as Deputy President, I'm not involved in procurement processes of my office, whether directly or indirectly. I would also like to state that I do not know the company, AgroPric Investments Limited, which undertook the renovations. I do not know the directors and the company. I did not participate in the tendering or supervising of the same. The motion dated 26 September 2024 alleges that on 29 January 2023, 45 million Kenya shillings was transferred to Bayani Enterprises Limited, which is alleged to be a special purpose vehicle used by me to siphon public funds. No evidence whatsoever is contained in the motion showing that the said company is in any way connected to me or that I have any beneficial interest in the said company, which I am neither a director or a shareholder. I categorically refute the allegation, which is false and unfounded. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to confirm that I'm not a director or a shareholder, directly or indirectly, of the company called AgroPric Investments Limited, and I do not know its shareholders or its directors. Mr. Speaker, there is an allegation of dubiously acquiring substantial portion of the sum of 100 million paid to Lusona Events Limited. My response, Mr. Speaker, is just like in the above other matter. I have read the motion and I would like to state that there is no evidence that this company is linked to me. I wish to categorically state that I have no beneficial interest in the said company and neither am I affiliated in any way the directors and shareholders of the said company. I would also like to state that I'm not a director or a shareholder of the company and do not know its shareholders or its directors. I do not sit in a tendering committee. I am not the accounting officer of the Office of the Deputy President. I have also not had any complaints against the manner in which the company undertook the work. I am unable to confirm the allegations on funds withdrawn from the account of the company since I am not a signatory to its account. I am not associated with the company in any way whatsoever. Mr. Speaker, the motion dated 26 September 2024 claims that I am reasonably suspected to be the principal beneficiary of the dubious transactions. However, Mr. Speaker, no evidence has been adduced or annexed to the motion to give credit to the allegations or suspicion. I categorically refute acquiring or benefiting from any funds paid to Lusona Events Limited, and therefore the allegation is false and unfounded. Mr. Speaker, I have been accused of siphoning money through St. Nicholas Rehabilitation and Industrial Training Institute Limited. My response, Mr. Speaker, is that the motion dated 26 September 2024 makes the claim that a payment of 21 million was made to a company called St. Nicholas Rehabilitation Center and Psychiatric Hospital. Then subsequently payment was made to Umalari Motors Limited. The motion claims that it is suspected that the entire transaction was used by me to siphon public funds and the payments typify money laundering transactions. I am not a director or a shareholder of this company and have never received any payments from this company. Similarly, I am not affiliated or related to the shareholders and directors of the two companies. No evidence has been annexed to the motion showing that I was a beneficiary of the funds paid as alleged. I wish to point out that I am not the accounting officer in the Office of the Deputy President and I am not aware that the payments made to this company by the office. The allegation is therefore false and unfounded. Mr. Speaker, there is an accusation of alleged sensational but false accusations against the Honorable Lady Justice Esther Minor. My response, Mr. Speaker, it is alleged in the special notice motion on ground 4 on page 14 at a gross violation of the Constitution that I publicly attacked the Honorable Lady Justice Esther Minor and forcefully threatened to bring action against her. First, Article 160, Sub-Article 5 of the Constitution provides that the judge cannot be found liable in a court of law for actions taken in good faith in lawful performance of their work. This provision is not a bar on freedom of expression guaranteed under Article 33 of the Constitution, nor a bar of the right to seek redress for legal wrongs simply because a wrong is committed by a judge. the exit multiple legal fora in which to take action against a judge for any actions that are not lawful. My statements were protected speech consequent to a decision by the learned judge in a matter involving my personal assets, which I disagreed with and found to be wholly unfair. The matter having been concluded at that stage, my criticism of the decision was not sub judice, nor in any manner prohibited by law. While I respected the ruling of the learned judge, I was in absolute disagreement with it. Contrary to the assertions in the special motion, I did not falsely threaten to bring action against the learned judge. I took actual legal action available to every citizen of Kenya under Article 160B, subsection 2 of the Constitution, which allows any person to petition the Judicial Service Commission for removal of any judge and filed a legal complaint before the Judicial Service Commission, JSC, in March 2024. The complaint being live before JSC, discussion of the conduct of the learned judge in the said manner here would be sub judice. A copy of the complaint is annexed herewith and marked Annexure RG 24. Before the Judicial Service Commission, JSC, in March 2024. Mr. Speaker,